You know, harnessing the power of the internet is not a new concept on college campuses, but my next guest is trying to do exactly that for the purposes of political action. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Comcast Newsmakers on the Vote. I'm Robert Troiano, and my guest is Nick Troiano, National Campus Director for Americans Elect. Nick, welcome to the program.
Great to be here.
You know, college campuses are always this beehive of activity, clearly from an academic standpoint, clearly from a philosophical standpoint. I don't think most people realize that it's also an organizational place for political activity, no?
Absolutely. It's a seedbed for social movements. We've seen that throughout our history. And in this election cycle, through Americans Elect, young people are engaging in politics in a new way to nominate a third candidate for president in this year's election.
So, two-part question. One, tell me exactly what you do for the benefit of our audience, but also, secondly, tell us specifically what Americans Elect does.
Sure. I'm the National Campus Director for Americans Elect.
So you have the cool job. You go to college from campus to campus to campus.
Absolutely. It's a great job, and it's a great organization because what we're doing is holding the first ever online primary, where any registered voter can become a delegate to a convention we're holding in June to draft and nominate a third ticket for president and vice president, who will be on the ballot in all 50 states come November.
Okay, where will this convention be at?
At americanselect.org. So you can be in your pajamas at home and take part in nominating this
So this is going to be
candidate.
a virtual convention online, if you will.
Yep.
And all you have to be is an eligible voter?
Correct. If you're a registered voter, you're welcome to go to americanselect.org, sign up, help draft a platform of questions, help draft the candidates, and then nominate who that third ticket's going to be so that we have some new competition in this year's election and hopefully some leadership that can work with both parties to find common ground and move the country forward.
You know, Nick, it's interesting because when you take a look at the polling data, people are so frustrated with the two-party system. They're frustrated with Republicans, they're frustrated with Democrats, but when you ask them, are you interested in voting for a third-party person, they would say, yeah, sure, maybe. But when it comes to the mobilization, if you will, of putting, for argument's sake, a Michael Bloomberg, the current mayor of New York City, or a Ross Perot on the ticket, it is so difficult to do that. So people naturally resort back to the old-fashioned ways of voting Republican or Democrat.
Sure.
My question is, why is it so difficult to nominate a third party on the ballot?
Well, there's really two innovations going on with Americans Elect. The political innovation is that we are getting a third line on the ballot in all 50 states. We've collected over 2.5 million signatures to do this. So ballot access has been the largest barrier to third-party candidates in the past. That's being removed by Americans Elect. The second is this technological innovation that we're leveraging our newest technology to increase participation and build a groundswell of support for this eventual candidate. We're experiencing a social media revolution. The barriers to coordination, communication have collapsed. So institutions like both political parties that have had a stranglehold over our political system in years past, the people now have the power, not the institutions.
Perfect segue to my next question. So how do you harness that power on college campuses?
Sure. So we have identified campus leaders at over 280 colleges across the country, from San Diego State University on the West Coast to Harvard University on the East Coast. We have majors of economics and computer science and, of course, politics. These leaders are Democrats, Republicans, and independents. They have one thing in common. They believe our political system is broken, and if we don't do anything about it, our country is going to be broken too.
One can make the argument that that's the main reason why Barack Obama was elected 4 years ago. Hope and change. Tens of millions of young people voted for the very first time because, number one, he looked and acted like them, meaning a younger person, but also, number two, he had this sense of a promise and of hope. Are you suggesting that Barack Obama does not have that same type of energy that he did 4 years ago, hence the reason why you want this convention online?
I think what I'm suggesting is that to create the kind of change we need in our democracy nowadays, it takes more than just changing the person. It's going to have to change the way they get elected. And that's what we're trying to do at Americans Elect. You know, we've had almost every combination of party control in Washington over the past 6 years, Democrats and Republicans, and we're left at the end of the day with the same dysfunctional government. Washington keeps kicking that can down the road. Americans Elect is a way for all of us to take charge and kick back hard.
You know, Nick, when you take a look at current and former elected officials, whether it's Joe Lieberman, who is an independent from Connecticut, or perhaps Jesse Ventura, independent from Minnesota, who ran for governor and won. Where do they fit in this model that you're trying to create, especially on college campuses? I guess my question is, if I'm a college senior or college junior, who do I look to as a role model for that third way?
Sure. Well, the great thing about Americans Elect is that surely we'll have candidates come to the website and declare themselves and start their own campaigns. But this is an opportunity to leverage our new technology to draft who we want to see as president. So we're posing the question, who should be president of the United States? Who has the courage? Who has the independence? Who has the vision for this country? Go out and draft them, form a movement online, convince them to run, and bring them into the process.
And that's one half of the coin. The other half, I assume you want experience as well, correct?
Sure, absolutely. And there are many people experienced in politics.
Name one.
Look at Olympia Snowe, for example. She has served several terms in the Senate. Joe Lieberman, John Huntsman's a former governor. On both sides of the aisle, we are seeing people who have spent their life in politics, remember a day when both parties used to be able to cooperate, used to be able to make progress, but aren't anymore. And so national leaders are coming together and realizing we may need a movement outside of both political parties to sort of jolt the system into working again.
All right, Nick Troiano, and for the benefit of our viewers at home who may have heard about that website and now, of course, grabbing their tablet or their pen, another writing device, where can they get more information about your organization?
Sure, www.americanselect.org. And if you click on the volunteer page, you can be part of this growing movement across the country.
All right, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Of course, thank you for joining us for this edition of Comcast Newsmakers on the Vote. I'm Robert Troiano. Have a great day, everybody. We'll see you next time. Take care.